Deja Voodoo Literary Coup Under the Influence of Dub by Klyde Broox. Dub Poesis. Potent, interfluent, sentient, sentiment currents overflow into voice evoking sounds out of silence, out of silence, out of silence, out of silence. Word sounds leap into letters, unfettering a tongue, fleet-footed figures of speech, dance, speech of figures, a voice unshackled utters. My voice was once my gun, but now it has become a drum beneath skin, vibrating concrete street beat to repeat, dubbing voices, dub daily life into poems, dub poems into daily life, words sounding out, heartbeats, flub dub, teeth and tongue radiate body heat, tempo of unmetered feet, echoes, tensions, temperature. Poems dub I as dub poet, to dub poetry I come not to compete, but to complete. Dub poetryology of Dobra Cadabra, ha ha ha, Eureka. Effervescence of body presence, dubs stage's page. Techniques critique dubs mystique into unique physique, transforms page into stage. Word, sound, and shape systems engineering operations of dubbing, technology of the spoken word, spoken word, spoken word, word sounds, dub utterance, vibrate resonance, erase distance, balance cognitive dissonance. Poem on page, bird in cage, spoken word, flying bird on cage, page birds, double wings on words. More poems uttered, more poems heard, more poems heard, more poems remembered, more poems remembered, more poets revered for writing words in flight. Dubstract. Deja Voodoo literary coup under the influence of dub has been dubbed from Dobra Cadabra, etc. My book of performance essays. Each essay knits poetry and prose into an unorthodox blend of expressive and expository elements, simultaneously illustrating and explicating dub poetry as word, sound, and shape systems engineering, a veritable oral scribal technology of the voice. The essays are generated aloud by performance writing, as if delivering an impromptu lecture to a live audience. Spontaneous text is usually generated extempore during each delivery of an essay version. Aspects of such text often get incorporated in subsequent versions of essays. Spontaneous text generation is vital to the viability of a performance essay in the reality of performance as a running stream. Organic blending of textures provides testimony of dub poetry's facilities for scribalizing orality and oralizing scribality. Dub's sound engineering meaning invests its poetry with technical centrality within the digitally determined literary climate of the 21st century. Digital technology has returned us full circle forward to the virtual campfire of computer-screened interface via web camera, enabling the reascendancy of orality in literature. The former British empires of language and literature have evolved into post-colonial commonwealths of neo-Englishes. Today's world produces literary hybridity linked to digitality and multilingual upheavals caused by post-colonial struggles of the tongue related to the decolonization of language. The 21st century is witnessing the overthrowing and underthrowing of Eurocentric dominion over rules of pronunciation within the linguistic continuums of the Englishes, the Spanishes, the Frenches, the Portugueses, and so forth. In relation to such historical dynamics, the trans-black Atlantic-wide 1970s dub poetry uprising in the Caribbean and Britain accomplished what can be described as a literary coup. Military coup, power for a few, a literary coup, people power renew. Our little neo-literary coup is too huge to be a haiku. Entry point without return. Mutiny of the subaltern, neo-modern, pitting pattern, profile me as superaltern, to whom it may concern. Memory library didn't burn. I know it's my turn to teach and you learn. A mosquito 1, a mosquito 2, a mosquito jump in a hat callaloo. Cock-a-doodle-doo, Timbuktu, Parlez-vous, Deja Voodoo. A morning dew is vintage brew. A literary coup, people power renew. High bro, low bro, no, I know, and that's not so. Alternative narratives overthrow, underthrow, throw, topple, trample, transfigure pyramid and triangle, restructure hierarchy as power circle, reshuffle puzzle into miracle, create spectacle, make people marvel. Mosquito 1, a mosquito 2, a mosquito jump in the hot callaloo, a cock-a-doodle-doo, a Timbuktu, Parlez-vous, Deja Voodoo. Morning dew is vintage brew. A literary coup, people power renew. Now I invite you to profile me as superaltern, because I know it's my turn to teach and you learn, for slavery was an entry point without return, and dub poetry represents the mutiny of the subaltern, and it is largely characterized by the neo-modern pith of its pattern. Essentially, dub poetry does not signify a departure from literary traditions, but a returning of literature via digitality to its original oral-based identity, where voice, tongue, and body are fundamental literary resources. Morning dew is vintage brew. If people could not speak, maybe there would be no need to write. Thus, prototypical scribal literature must first have been an echo of the oral, the literation of the poetic narrative utterances of prehistoric campfire dwellers. Tides of times flow without ebb, world wrapping web wrap world, pages of ages further unfurled, official denials hurriedly hurled. Behold another former empire, minus an expired empire, staring down his stuffed up nose, striking a supposed power pose, as if no one knows. State secrets have been exposed. He's lost all his titles, even his clothes. Who is who? I will dub you a clue. Penguins can't fly where the phoenix flew. Never heard a parrot who could outsing a cuckoo. Phantom skew, academic review. Dubbers dubbing to do, long overdue. A literary coup didn't come out of the blue. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Timbuktu, Deja Voodoo, Parlez-vous, morning dew is vintage brew, literary coup, people power renew. Repatterning chaos, fusing resonances, blending assonances and dissonances, dub poetry harnesses and unleashes the soul of the earth amidst the noises of the world. Are you feeling what I'm saying? Teloran being, you know what being Teloran means? Despite the cultural specificity of my voice, I am the poet whose village is this entire planet. The sound of my word. Word sound is my power, saith a dub poet. Word sounds are common to the voices of all peoples, because all peoples utter word sounds. Dub poetry makes music with the sounds of words. Word sounds overflowing from tongues of different times and places, lips of various races, enunciating speech of figures in figures of speech, resounding via memory and reutterance. Versions of vibrations ripple rhizomatically across ages, resonating within multilingual word sounds, pronouncing collective, universal, Tellurian statements of being alive. I talk what I live, and live what I talk. Even if I sound to you as if I'm talking with a foreign accent, my native voice is my trademark. I feel fluent when I talk. When I talk is talk. I talk is not bark, I bark. My accent is no accident. It is not recent, but ancient is not something that I invent. Skip value judgment, don't resent. Status, forget fuss. No need for us to act facetious, self-conscious, supercilious, suspicious, or anxious when I sit beside you in the bus. Schedule. Whose rule? Just cool. I went to a really good school. Mandatory. Why worry? No rush, no hurry. My goat well curry. And while the goat is being curried, let's make a time out from the poem to note that the definition of languages as word sound systems detaches language from the various partitions, differentiations, and specificities signified by parameters of national borders with their corresponding language and literature domains and barriers. Babel, every tongue has a tale to tell, ears have their own doubts to dispel. Ideology, comparative orthography, certificate, surfeit, ticket, get suspect, inspect, disrespect, reject, neglected, immigrant, intellect, foreign accented narrative, No need to be negative. Language is relative. Distribution of syllabic stress should not create ethnic distress. Tomato, tomato, potato, potato. Ida, Ida, data, data, Z or Z, he, same vocabulary, controversy, controversy, build a bridge across the sea, level out hierarchy, the Queen's English is her own, let her speak it from our throne, if she don't mind speaking it alone. I know my English is fine, my tongue makes it mine. Strong blend of vintage wine in moonshine, borderlines intertwine into grapevine. There is no foreign accent when listening to Tellurian voices as vessels of word sounds. In hearing word sound as dubwise, we can listen to our world as it really is, covered only by the ceiling of a single sky. Alien? Alien. Not me, man. I am not one, no relation. I don't fit that description. I have the wit to prove it in any type of examination. I am a born Tellurian. My place of birth is planet Earth, Dub poetry can help ESL speakers to learn to own the English language with any native voice. The focus on words as units of sound creates a space where voices from all languages can celebrate each other through the common language of poetry. Dub poetry facilitates the building of self-confidence in new speakers of English. As dub poets, we write, perform, and publish our own sense of voice in English, focusing on our accents as advantages instead of disadvantages. Dub poetry harnesses and unleashes word sound power. Come in, Tellurian Bean, tune in, Tellurian Bean, come in, tune in. This is one Tellurian Bean telling all Tellurian Beans that we're all Tellurian Beans. Essentially, as I said before, there's no foreign accent under the influence of dub. Under the influence of dub. Soul bruising blues ooze in and out of moods, fusing muses, word sounds, pounding pole to pole, southern noise in the north, southern noise in the north, under the influence of dub. Under the influence of dub, under the influence of dub, adi di 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 dub, dub in the dub. Under the influence of dub, body speakers demolish language barriers, illuminate innate angles of insight, interrogate ivory and ebony towers, obscurity obliterated by spotlight. Under the influence of dub, adi di 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 dub, dub. Under the influence of dubbers, dubbing the dubbing dubs of dub. Adi di 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 dub. Dub in the dub. Dub culture is not just subculture, it's not scrub culture, nor shrub culture, neither grub culture, nor pub culture, not a paste tub culture, nor hot tub culture. It's not much of a Fan club culture, dub, dub, dub. Dub culture is hub culture, voice signature, live literature, alter cultural capital, ancestral oracular revival, conquering continual spiral under the influence of dub. A dee 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 doob, a doob, a doob, a doob, a doob, a doob, the doob. Under the influence of dub, bodies, politic, talk louder, gesture, people power, utter, live to camera, arouse, browser, engender, close encounters of an oral kind. Open windows and doors to new states of mind. We have our world to redesign within and between daily grind under the influence of dub and dub. A dee 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 dub and dub. Adobe, 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 dubbers, dubbing the dub, dub, dee, dub, dubs of dub, dee, dub, dub in, dub out,